Welcome to Next Gen Manufacturing Nexus. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most critical, fast-paced, and honestly, coolest jobs in modern industry, the manufacturing engineer.
Seriously, just think about the device you're probably watching this on right now. It is an absolute masterpiece of precision, packed with thousands of tiny, intricate parts. And yet, somehow, millions of them roll off an assembly line, each one basically a perfect clone of the last. How is that even possible? Well, that exact question, that's the starting point for everything a manufacturing engineer does.
It's because there is this huge gap between a perfect digital design and the messy, unpredictable reality of the physical world. I mean, a designer working on a computer can create absolute perfection. But out on the factory floor, oh man, tools get dull, the raw materials aren't always exactly the same, and let's be real, people make mistakes. This right here, this is the great production gap.
And this is where our hero enters the picture. The manufacturing engineer is the person who stands right in the middle of that gap. They are the essential bridge, the ultimate problem solver who makes mass production not just possible, but efficient and incredibly reliable.
So what does this role actually look like day to day? Well, it's kind of like having several different jobs rolled into one. First up, the manufacturing engineer is a master planner. They are the architect of the entire assembly line.
I love this analogy from peak technical staffing. It's just perfect. We all know how to follow Lego instructions, right? Now imagine you had to write those instructions, but for something like a jet engine. Imagine telling an army of robots and people exactly what to do, in what order, with what specific tools. That's the mind-boggling scale we're talking about here.
And this slide? It lays out their master plan perfectly. They take those complex engineering drawings and translate them into a step-by-step production playbook. They are the ones who program the robots and the CNC machines. That's computer numerical control, by the way. It's what automates machine tools. They even design custom tools and fixtures just to hold a part in exactly the right spot for assembly. This plan basically becomes the Bible for the whole production team.
But, you know, the smartest engineers don't just plan around a design they're given. They actually influence it. This is a super important concept called design for manufacturing. It means they go back to the original designers and work with them to make small tweaks, maybe changing a curve here or adjusting a screw placement there, that make the product drastically easier, faster, and cheaper to build, all without sacrificing an ounce of quality.
Okay, but all that careful, meticulous planning, that's just one half of the job. Because the moment that production line starts running, the manufacturing engineer completely transforms. They become a firefighter.
This quote from a Reddit user who's actually in the trenches just captures the daily reality perfectly. No matter how good the plan is, things will go wrong. A machine will drift out of calibration. A batch of parts from a supplier will be slightly off. A process that worked yesterday suddenly fails today.
Another user put it this way: it was whack-a-mole all day, every day. You solve one problem and bam, two more pop up somewhere else. It is a high-pressure, super fast-paced environment where you have to think on your feet constantly.
And that's the key takeaway here. They spend a huge amount of their time right on the factory floor. They're helping technicians who get stuck. They're troubleshooting why a specific unit just failed a quality check. They're clarifying the work instructions. And they're digging into data to spot trends that could point to a much bigger problem, like a whole bad batch of components.
But here's the thing. They're not just fighting today's fires. The best manufacturing engineers are always looking to the future. They're constantly trying to figure out how to prevent those fires from ever starting. And this is where they become the innovators. This is their mantra. Every single process, every tool, every second on that assembly line is seen as an opportunity for improvement. Can we shave just 1/10 of a second off this one cycle time? Can we reduce waste by just 1%? When you multiply those tiny improvements by 1,000,000 units, you're suddenly saving millions of dollars.
And the toolkit they have to make this happen is incredible. They're the ones who are identifying and justifying the purchase of new cutting-edge machinery. They are implementing robotics and automation to boost consistency and quality. And they're using amazing technologies like 3D printing to create custom tools and fixtures in just a few hours instead of weeks.
And as one Reddit user hilariously put it, a big part of their job is to figure out the long-term fix for recurring problems, which, yeah, often means coming up with a plan to get fancy new toys for the factory.
It's funny because it's true. So they're a planner, a firefighter, and an innovator. But there's one more crucial piece to this whole puzzle, and it has everything to do with people. This is definitely not a job you do alone in a cubicle.
I absolutely love this brutally honest to-do list from a manufacturing engineer on Reddit. It just shows the insane variety of the job.
I mean, one minute you're deep inside complex 3D design software like SolidWorks, the next you're on the floor guiding technicians, and yeah, sometimes you're just hiding in the bathroom browsing Reddit. It's a very, very human job.
And that communication piece is absolutely key. One engineer described their job as being 75% hands-on, meaning away from their desk. They are constantly talking to R&D, to the technicians on the line, to the quality team, to management. They really are the communication hub that keeps the entire operation connected and running smoothly.
So why does all this matter so much? Well, because in a lot of industries, this work is absolutely critical. Think about a company like Alcon. They make specialist brakes for high-performance cars. In that world, there is zero room for error. The manufacturing engineer's job is to guarantee that every single component is made perfectly, every single time, because lives literally depend on it.
So where is all of this heading? What does the future actually look like for the person who builds that bridge between a brilliant design and a physical reality?
The only constant, really, is change. The tools are getting smarter, the factories are becoming more connected. Automation, advanced robotics, and AI are not just buzzwords anymore. They are fundamentally reshaping the factory floor and the engineer's role right along with it.
Which leaves us with a final and pretty fascinating question. For decades, the manufacturing engineer's job was to design the process. But as AI gets more and more powerful, is their future role going to shift? Will they become the ones who design, train, and manage the AI that then designs the optimal manufacturing process? Let us know what you think.